We're down here at ROBERTA Ranch again today. About a week ago, we got our blower door test done and we blew 2.1 at our pre-con level, which is when just the exterior air barrier is up and the poly. I was really hoping for a higher number, but it was our first time and I was a little bummed out. So about a week later, we did a bunch of work and tried to tighten up some of the areas where we had different lapping and points that weren't going exactly as they could have or should have. And we ended up getting down to 1.6, which in my mind wasn't still where we wanted to go. So we ended up needing to call in some help and we're gonna get AeroBarrier in. And you know, I was really hoping that I was going to be able to get there without it, but you know, it was our first time, and with what the energy advisor was saying, I did really good for my first time. So ideally, we're going to get down to below 1 with AeroBarrier, and I'm really looking forward to being able to achieve the step 5 that we were looking for and have a super airtight envelope and really be able to have a house that I'm going to be proud of.
So we've created another air barrier in this. The air barrier on the outside,
right,
which was really good. And now all we've done is enhanced everything. And if there was any leakage through that air barrier and stuff like that through your poly, we've just tightened those holes up. Okay. Yeah, we plugged all the holes. Okay. Our little elves, our little floating elves go and they.
Yeah. Did you get that recorded?
Oh, awesome. Nice. The outtakes, eh? Yeah.
Blooper reel, just for you, Paul.
Oh, that's good. I don't even know where to be going now.
The elves. There's elves and there's
Instead of like the blower door, this is
this one here will move a lot more air than one of those small doors. Our old system had that.
So this is hooked up to that.
Yeah, this is
they're
actually
talking to each other.
They're actually So this thing is going to be reading. This red hose reads the fan pressure.
Okay.
So it's looking at how much air, the difference between the pressure inside. So we have a blue line that runs from there to the control unit.
Okay.
Fan pressure. So this one here knows how much air is going through the fan.
Right.
And then this is also sensing the outside ambient pressure. So,
oh, cool.
So it's comparing the three of them. So that way there it knows exactly how much pressure is inside and how much air we're delivering.
Right. So it doesn't get wild and crazy.
Yeah, and then inside, we can walk through after, we'll show you. So from the inside there's these hoses that run to the reels.
Yeah.
That's just a manifold. So then a couple nozzles set up inside, they run out to here. It's just a manifold for atomizing the air, so we're feeding air to the nozzles. There's a pump inside with the fluid that sucks it up. Okay. And then it makes a fog out of it.
Oh, cool.
So because we're only running a couple of nozzles today, we need to dump some excess air off of the system. So we'll just have some out here that'll be hissing away when we're working.
Cool.
And then this whole fleet comes off as well.
And that's deciding on how much CFM you're kind of...
How much volume,
Right.
yeah. So as the house gets tighter, we go down to a smaller and smaller ring. Like really big houses, we start on the big one.
Right.
This one, I'm thinking probably the 6-inch will do it.
Right.
And then as it starts to get really tight, then it'll tell us to go down to the 3-inch ring.
Right.
We'll be maintaining 100 pascals of pressure inside, but it'll just take less volume of air to go through, right? So
Right.
we get that fan working harder to move that air, because then we can check that the pressures are being, it can read the pressure difference, right? When it gets really low, there's not enough.
Okay, cool.
The hose from the control unit outside, or inside, right, is that blue line, so that's gonna tell us the pressure inside. And then the seal stations are these things here. And inside the box, there is our sealant, which kind of looks like a white milky product, a pump system, and then there's water for us flushing the lines afterwards. And then on the back of these boxes, it's got the temperature and pressure sensors built onto it. And then this is where the product gets atomized. So we have air comes in through the bottom, and the fluid comes up from the pump inside, sprays, and just makes a giant fog.
It's just the pre-seal test we're doing right now. There's your like approximate air changes on that gauge there. Awesome, test is done. So pre-sealing is 1.79. That's with everything prepped, like stuff closed and all that. 179. Okay. Ready to start?
Yep. So we're gonna go in and do checks of the nozzles and stuff. I'll take your thing if you want me to take a photo or a video.
Oh, yeah.
It's already going down. We started at 1.79, we're down to 1.5 already.
Nice.
Let's wait for when we open the door.
We already figured out when we went in to do our check, we didn't hit pause. So we have a little spike there. So you can keep going down.
Right.
Every, I think it's 60 or 90 seconds, bottom of the graph.
Okay.
There's our square inches of leakage, 274 cubic feet. You'll see those numbers all
Well, they'll play around.
play around a little bit. But yeah, the thing is when you watch that for now, just gradual curve down. The gray line is the target that we set in there, which I think was 1.
Yeah.
The gold line is where the machine says to take it to make sure that you're below 1.
Right.
And here is where it tells us to stop. Okay. To make sure that we're at the target of 1, right?
Right.
But what we're actually going to do is we're watching the fluid use and stuff like that, and everything. As long as we get the fluid and everything else is working well and it's still going down, we'll just keep running it until your alarm is done, right? So I'm hoping to finish around 0.3 or something.
Oh, sweet. So when we're filling these voids, are we now just filling like main void or upper envelope void?
Now what's happening is we're making that we're creating an airtight drywall system.
Oh, okay.
So your exterior wrap is all taped and everything else like that, and that's always, but there's always little leaks and stuff like that, and tape where there's a wrinkle or a little gap gets missed, right?
Right.
So when you look at it, 37 or 40 square inches of leakage, right? So that's about a basketball, what we call it. That's all little tiny holes combined together. So Ben and Liam just went in with a can of foam to go see if they could find any big leaks.
Right.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't around some of those heat ducts and stuff where things might leak. But what a lot of these are is, say, your knockouts on your electrical, right? So your electrician brought power down through the box, and if it's got a plastic boot or tape through the vapor barrier, there's a little rip of tape that tries to tape it or whatever.
Okay.
What we'll actually see is that box, all the knockouts will get sealed if there was air leakage going through.
Okay.
Right? Any pipe penetration, anything where there's air movement between the inside of the house, going past the drywall, it's going to try to seal it down.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, we're creating an airtight drywall system.
Is there a way that you could do it where you're pulling the air in and setting it up in the attic?
No, if you're pulling it in, it would be really hard because we need this. It needs to be pulling it in. We waste a lot of material, right?
Oh, okay.
So no, going that way there doesn't really work. Unvented attics and stuff don't matter, but when it's vented this way here,
Yeah.
for example, if that attic hatch was inside of the house,
Yeah.
the air pressure that we're putting in there, the 100 pascals, because there's no weight on those lids, they actually sometimes start to float, right? So we either have to put a weight on top or tape them down. So yeah, to hold the lid down, right? Because we're actually trying to force the stuff into any area, right? Because what's actually making it seal is all these particles now are hanging in the air, and as they get towards an opening, the air starts to accelerate, right? There's a venturi, so all the air accelerates, and then the air that's near there can turn the corner faster as it goes. And what's actually happening is the particles can't turn as fast, and then they end up slamming against the sides all the way around. So you got the same thing happening.
Oh, it
here.
doesn't really matter. It just
It doesn't matter. It's just as it's going in,
Right.
kind of like water going down a drain.
Right.
But it's slamming against the side, and what happens is it starts to close up from the outside of the hole. It closes up, and then it seals it. And what actually happens is towards the end of it, on the graph, you'll see chatter because like the line starts doing this up and down thing, and our numbers will bounce a little bit. And what's happening is it's completely sealed, but then the last few molecules of sealing it, well, they're too thin to hold the pressure then. So they actually they blow out.
Okay.
Right? And then it forms another seal, blows out, forms another seal, and then we end up with a good seal across. Because if you had a big opening that was only a really thin layer, it wouldn't last, right? So you end up with a really good robust seal.
Okay, cool. And then at this point, then this is my final, like I don't have to get an air test done again. This is
No,
my
I mean, you'll need to get one
at final.
at final still.
Okay.
Gonna start the pumps again. Yeah, you'll still need one of those.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that Natural Resources Canada and the Energy Advisors, when they're doing that test, it's an as-operated test.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same way the house is going to be when you're living in it.
Right.
So dryer's connected, the door's closed, your rain should, that pipe's not sealed anymore, right? So if that dampers aren't sitting properly, they're hanging out a little bit, that's going to register. Although they're doing a negative pressure test, they're pulling air out, so that typically pulls those dampers tighter.
Okay.
Whereas we're blowing air in right now, they can outward, right?
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a slight difference, and the numbers do change it. The other difference that we see, besides dampers and stuff, would be like slider windows. We've got tape across the sliders and stuff like that. Because air pushes through those slider windows are more leaky than basement windows. Things that have a positive seal on full close. So we see those numbers come down. That's why we say if we're going to 1, our system will say bring it down to say 0.8 or 1, knowing that it's going to come up a bit. I just go as low as I can with the allotment because we're here and why not?
Yeah.
You got an HRV system, you're going to have good air movement and stuff like that. Let's eliminate air leakage altogether.
Do you think that you wouldn't want to go this route if you didn't have an HRV?
You got to be, I mean, we always have fresh air sources, open a window, right? The problem is, and even with an HRV system, when we go low, is it, what do you have for exhaust only, right? So an HRV system is a balanced system. Brings in, say, 100 cubic feet, but it exhausts 100 cubic feet, right? Now, if you're the home chef and you come and install one of those huge 1,200 cubic foot a minute exhaust only system, you're going to depressurize the house. You're going to sucking air out of the house. And in fact, you can create issues with that. A, that system's not going to be able to move as much air as it's designed to. but you can actually make it difficult to open an exterior door or something. Right?
Oh, you get stuck inside almost.
So if you have a door that opens, in that case, it would be outwards, right? You'd be pulling the door closed.
Yeah.
You have to physically put your shoulder into the door and push.
Oh.
Much like when we're opening this
Yeah.
door now, you see us leaning on the door to get it open.
Yeah.
So could that be a safety thing if doors open?
Right.
Right, and there's a fire and you're trying to pull a door that now has 100 pascals.
Right, and the fire would even suck up that air and make that even.
Yeah, so it could create problems like that. The big thing is your vent system, your bathroom fans aren't going to work as well. But if you have gas appliances,
Right.
somebody uses a little furnace and stuff like that, but you would actually cause backdrafting, or now you have what they call spillage. Your furnace and stuff can be dumping air into the house,
Right.
feeding from outside to inside. Now all that carbon monoxide is
Just laying on the floor.
coming into the house, right? So we don't want to create that. So
Right. Okay. Cool.
new systems, furnaces, they're direct vent. So we have air intake and exhaust both to the outside. They're not using the inside air.
Okay.
But if you want to have your ventilation systems working, bath fans and something, you need some makeup around that. But if a house is like that, you got 5 bathrooms and that great big kitchen fan. You're like, how come our bathroom is still staying foggy?
Right.
It's got no air to actually pull fresh air from the rest of the house to get that humid air.
Yeah, because you'll all be getting pulled out so fast.
Yeah, so you would still need to trap the window.
Okay.
Right? So
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
going to zero, it's like working a straw. You go to McDonald's, you get the chocolate shake, and your head caves in trying to get that thing up the straw. You're doing the exact same thing with the bathroom fan, right? It just makes it super hard to. We're at 1.2.
Cool.
Nice.
We're going the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes they will get some air coming out of them on some. Look at these guys. Hey there. You gonna bite my arm off? What? Yeah, you know how to do that. Yeah. It's there's a Japanese name for it. Square inches, 1.79 air changes per hour, and we're down to 78 cubic feet, a 9.5 square inch hole, so it's 0.43. So we've reduced it by 76%. Where we tested in the start,
Yeah.
320 cubic feet and a 39 inch hole, 1.79 air changes per hour happening, and then afterwards we're 78 cubic foot minute air barrier leakage, a 9.5 square inch hole, and that's 0.43 air changes per hour.
Sweet.
That's a 75.8% reduction, so 76% reduction. Nice.
Fucking
yeah, awesome. Yeah, and then it grabs it though, right? So,
Okay.
so that's air leakage over time.
Yeah.
And this spike, like I said, when we did pause it when we first walked in the door, that's
Right.
where we spiked it a bit. Like,
Right. And it's so close to the edge that
you don't even know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah,
We've
right.
done it before, like right towards the end of the seal, and then there's this big spike, and it's like,
that's not what we wanted to
it's
look.
ugly. We call them the ugly graphs when you. Yeah, so
Perfect.
that's good, man. That's
Right
I'm
on.
happy with those results.
Yeah. Fucking right. Oh, that's good.
So this is the hole we started with, and then this is the hole on the bottom that we finished with.
That's all filled in.
Woo! Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Is it still wet?
Yep. So right now it's kind of soft and tacky.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's stretchy out.
Turns into almost a rubber.
Almost like a rubber cement kind of hard, but it's stretchy. Like even after a year or two, it's 50 years in testing, it's simulating one of those hot cold things, but it remains flexible. This box, and it looks like it was taped well around the box.
Right.
See, look at the back where that one wire comes through.
Oh yeah.
And it's pulled. See how it's white on the knockouts?
This one's got a little bit.
Oh yeah. So where they pulled the wire through and maybe tried to tape it or something like that.
Right.
A little bit of air leakage.
Yeah, that's good to be aware of.
But those sort of things, I mean, you're never gonna get it. Redoing it in a corner and whatever else like that. It's super hard, right? Or it's just more and more tape.
Or doggy. Hi, we're down here at ROBERTA Ranch again today, and we had Paul out with AeroBarrier to come and help us with air sealing. As I had that other video about how frustrating it was that I wasn't able to get to my air changes per hour that I was hoping for, I was happy that we had AeroBarrier to get us there.
Your numbers were good to start with, and I described earlier, you were challenged. You're building a smaller house, so making it more airtight, reduce that air volume is harder. So
I appreciate that.
It totally is. It's a factor of the size of the house. When you build smaller homes, they still have the same amount of openings as those great big houses, right? They still have bathroom fans and range hoods and all those sort of things that are going to have a little bit of leakage around them. So don't kick yourself down too much because it really wasn't a terrible start for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we were just around 2, just under 2. So that's actually really good. But you're trying to reach the higher levels, so that makes a difference. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Paul.
Yeah, very
And thank you for stopping and watching the video, and I appreciate that. Have a great day. At Buck Robertson Contracting, we do contracting with communication. So if you'd like your house built with communication, call us today. Bye for now.
In action.
Hey, we're down at ROBERTA Ranch again today. We had Paul out with AeroBarrier, and we were really excited to have him out because he was able to solve our problem, and that's a great option that we had to be shit. Okay, start again. 2, 2.